Greetings photography pals, and today I'm testing out another Voigtländer lens designed for full-frame mirrorless cameras, the Voigtländer Nokton 35mm f1.2 SE, and especially exciting to me is this lens's classic 35mm wide angle combined with an unusually bright maximum aperture of f1.2, and it manages to achieve this while remaining relatively small in size. It's available for Sony E and Leica M mount cameras, it produces a full frame image, it's a manual focus lens, and it costs a little over $1,000 US. That's pricey for a manual focus 35mm lens, but its ultra bright maximum aperture of f1.2 really does add to the uniqueness and creativity, so I'm keen to see what it can do. I'd like to thank Voigtlander's UK distributor for loaning me a copy of this lens for a couple of weeks for testing, although as usual this is a totally independent review. I'll be checking out both its strengths and its weaknesses. Let's start with its build quality. In this SE edition of the lens, Voigtländer have slightly updated the focus ring to smooth out its grip from previous models. The lens is made of metal throughout, with a beautiful brushed black finish. It has a nice little weight to it, and everything about it feels rock solid and built to very tight tolerances, like pretty much every Voigtländer lens I've tested so far. And something I should mention again is that this lens really is quite compact for the bright aperture it's offering you. The closest equivalent lens I can think of for comparison that's on the market today is this gigantic Sigma 35mm f1.2 DGDN art lens for mirrorless cameras also, so what Voigtländer have managed to do in keeping this lens's size down is very impressive. We'll find out in a minute if that's meant compromises in image quality. Voigtländer make no mention of weather sealing for this lens, and there's certainly no protective gasket around the rear mount. Something you can see here though are electronic contacts. As I mentioned, this is a manual focus lens, but it does still communicate electronically with your Sony camera, and resultantly has a few useful tricks up its sleeve. Firstly, if your camera has in-body image stabilization, then you won't have to manually set its focal length, because the camera is getting EXIF information here. Secondly, when you turn the manual focus ring, which works incredibly smoothly and precisely by the way, your camera can recognize that and automatically switch into manual focus assistance, which speeds up the process a little. As you can see here, the lens has issues with strong focus breathing though, zooming in as you focus more closely. Thirdly, although the aperture is controlled manually on this lens using a ring at the front, with perfectly weighted clicks every third of an f-stop, the camera knows what aperture you're shooting at and will report that back in EXIF information, which is all very elegant to see. The lens comes with a metal hood, which is too small to be particularly useful, and its filter thread size is 58mm wide. It does not have its own image stabilization. Overall, this is a very nice handling little manual focus lens. Not only is the build quality top notch, but the way it electronically cooperates with your camera is very nice too. Alright then, image quality. I'm testing this thing on a Sony a7R III full frame camera with its full frame 42 megapixel sensor. In-camera corrections are turned on. At f1.2, sharpness in the middle of the image is very good, but contrast is rather in the doldrums, and there's also quite a lot of purple fringing on contrasting edges. Over in the corners, you can make out what's going on, but sharpness and contrast are clearly greatly reduced here, and purple fringing is quite a bit more visible too. Stop down just a little to f1.4 for a noticeable improvement in brightness and a touch more sharpness. Back in the middle, sharpness and contrast see a nice increase from before. Stop down to f2 and image quality is now excellent in the middle. Even the purple fringing has gone now, well, virtually. Corner image quality looks quite a bit better at f2 also, although things are still a bit softer over there. However, stop down to f2.8 and sharpness and contrast look excellent there now. At f4 and f5.6, image quality is perfect from corner to corner. The lens stays this sharp down to f11, but due to the effect of diffraction, f16 looks softer. Overall, it's not really a great performance here for a $1,000 lens, as it performs rather like an old-fashioned double-gauze 50mm design. Voigtlander's mission to cram a full-frame 35mm f1.2 optic into such a small lens body has led to some clear compromises here. but still, it's worth bearing in mind that we're working at brighter than usual apertures, and it certainly sharpens up quite nicely at f2.8. Alright, let's turn off those in-camera corrections and take a look at distortion and vignetting. The lens projects a noticeable pinch of pincushion distortion in the image corners. Vignetting at f1.2 is very heavy, and again, the problem is confined particularly to the edges. At f2, it's reduced, and at f2.8, it's mostly gone, so keep those in-camera corrections turned on. This lens can focus as closely as about 30 cm to your subject, not bad for a 35mm lens. Less encouraging is the very poor close-up image quality at f1.2. Stop down to f2 for contrast to re-emerge, and stop down to f2.8 for sharpness to appear again. Let's see how well the lens works against bright lights now. It's not great news here. Flaring isn't too opaque, but there's plenty of it, leading to a clear loss in contrast. While we're working in the dark, let's take a look at Coma Smearing. At f1.2, it's fairly ugly, as you can see here. Stop down to f2 to see it reduced, and at f2.8, it's virtually gone. Let's zoom out and take a look for sunstars. They're already quite noticeable at f2.8. As you stop down to f5.6 or as far as f11, they get really nice and strong. Even a lens with a wide angle of 35mm can get you some very out of focus backgrounds at f1.2, so let's see the quality of its bokeh. It's just good here, generally quite soft, but difficult backgrounds can get pretty jumbled. Also, we sometimes see some colourful highlighting on bright out of focus points. And finally, related to bokeh comes longitudinal chromatic aberration. At f1.2, the close-up image quality is too soft to see anything here really. At f1.4, a little more clarity emerges, and colour fringing is noticeable. At f2, it's still there, but at f2.8, it's virtually gone. Overall, well, this full-frame lens's ability to shoot as brightly as f1.2 while remaining so compact is a lovely party trick which I appreciate. It's quite a charming thing to handle and its images do look nice, but the lens's technical capability doesn't match. When you're paying $1,000 for a camera lens, you want it to be sharp. It's certainly quite an enjoyable lens to use though, and I don't think anyone who does get their hands on it would deny that. Oh, you're still here. Thanks for watching. I do love putting these reviews together, although it takes a lot of time and expense to do so. If you find these videos helpful and you'd like to support this channel, then check out my Patreon page, where I like to put all kinds of exclusive bonus content, including exclusive videos for my supporters. Ciao for now.